This weekend starts right after this. Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price, and it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
From Compass Media Networks, this is America's First News This Weekend with your host, Gordon Deal.
The new economic worry. I'm Gordon Deal with Jennifer Kashenka. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with us. Here's what's coming up this hour.
If the economy begins to weaken, many people won't be concerned with the stock market. The focus instead will be on the job market. Here are ways you can prepare.
Verizon, AT&T, and others will soon start rolling out 5G networks. Find out how it will change things for our current devices.
The most absurd college football bowl games based on things like length of name, quality of teams, and sponsor changes.
Santa Claus at the mall used to be a star attraction. Sure, kids still wait in long lines, but more Santas than ever have nothing to do.
Some malls have been struggling. Mall vacancies are at the highest they've been in about 7 years, and that is having an effect on mall traffic, and so Santa has more downtime than he used to.
Wall Street Journal reporter Jennifer Levitz on why you might catch Santa Claus reading a book at the mall. That report in about 10 minutes. Start things off on a serious note here. Men who are monsters are still coaching our kids. USA Today says at least 900 people have been sanctioned by a national governing body, or NGB, or by the National U.S. Center for Safe Sport. Those sanctions often allow criminal cases or an investigation, or often follow them, I should say. More than two-thirds are permanently forbidden to participate in the U.S. Olympic movement. Yet no cohesive system warns parents when coaches have been banned. The USOC and its governing bodies rarely follow up to ensure that they are being kept away from young athletes. Investigative story by USA Today. Here's reporter Rachel Axon. Rachel, what have you uncovered?
Yeah, so people may not know, but several of the national governing bodies for each sport have, in some cases for many years, have a list of banned or suspended members. Often those are coaches or other people working with kids who have had some sort of sexual misconduct that either, they were charged criminally or, was reported to the NGB and investigated and found to be credible. There's also a database maintained by the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, which opened in 2017 to investigate exactly these types of cases. And we have been hearing anecdotally, these guys get on this list and then, it doesn't stop them. There's all sorts of ways to work around that. And so we spent a decent amount of time trying to look into, we went through every NGB governing body list and tried to figure out, okay, where is this person now? Do we have any sign that they're coaching? Can we tell what they did to get themselves banned? Those sorts of things. And as we weeded through that, we found, a smaller list of about 5 dozen that had potential, and then just started tracking them down. And, we could have done this for a long, long time, but at some point decided that we had some good things to show and really highlight what the problem is.
My goodness, what's the problem here? Why does it seem like hundreds of these guys slip through the cracks and just turn up somewhere else?
Well, in a word, enforcement. So all the NGBs really can do is say, you're not part of our club, right? They don't get to put somebody in prison. They don't have any more meaningful action that they can take. But what that means kind of varies depending on who's enforcing it here. So these guys, if they wanted to apply for a membership at their NGB, it seems pretty clear across the board they would not get one. But no one checks to see, are they still in clubs that are part of our organization? Are they being hired by people in our organization? Do we have meaningful consequences in place so that if someone does hire one of these guys, they might be deterred by those potential consequences? So the buck seems to stop with them once these guys get on the list, and then there's virtually no follow-up from there.
Wow. We're speaking with Rachel Axon, investigative reporter at USA Today. She's written an unbelievable piece entitled "Banned from the Olympic Movement for Sexual Misconduct. These Men Are Still Coaching Kids." All right, so you open the story with a guy named Gerald Murphy. Explain his deal.
Mm-hmm. So Gerald Murphy is a Taekwondo coach who in 1989 was arrested and later pled to lewd and lascivious conduct upon a child. He was found in bed with a 14-year-old girl who had been his babysitter. He was a elementary school teacher at the time. He lost his teaching certificate. After his plea, he ultimately went to prison when he did not meet the terms of his sentencing and continued coaching. USA Taekwondo, organization of which he was a member, did not know about this until 2014. A former member of their board had the information relayed to her, and she passed it on, and they promptly banned him after finding out about this criminal background that he has. But then they did nothing else. He stayed at the same gym that he had before. A few days after he was banned, that gym was transferred to his wife's name on the state business records. And when I went to his gym in August to talk to him, he said, do I coach here? Yeah, I'm the teacher and the owner. And that gym, that school, was a member club, or as best we can tell, still is, although it's been removed from their website, of USA Taekwondo. So, in the normal working of things, the owner of that gym would have seen he was banned and not hired him.
Yeah.
If the quote-unquote owner of that gym is his wife, that's a problem. But USA Taekwondo certainly could have looked and said, okay, well, this address is the same, right? The gym didn't move, so this was affiliated with a band member. Okay, maybe we should ask some questions here. And they did not. So for the past 4 years, he's been banned, but literally in the same spot.
Man, what did parents say who would drop their kids off, to get taught by this guy?
Yeah, they were. I talked to one when I was there, and she had no idea that there even was a banned list or that he was on it or why he was on it. Taekwondo, like many of the other NGBs, doesn't list why. It doesn't say, has a conviction for this. It just is his name and the date he was banned. And she said, that is concerning, and it would have been good for her to know when she was looking for a place to take her kids.
If it had been researched, would she have found his name?
Yes, Taekwondo has a publicly available banned list. So if you go to the USA Taekwondo website, there's several dozen people on their list who have been sanctioned, and she could have at least said, "Is this you?"
Okay.
Part of the problem, Taekwondo is just a list of names and a date for when that sanction was issued. It doesn't tell you, what state that person is or was in, even the violation of which bylaw, led to their ban.
Thanks, Rachel. Rachel Axon, USA Today investigative reporter. Every December, shopping malls bring in jolly, white-whiskered Santas to pose for photos with children, right? And the slowdown at many shopping malls means more downtime for Santa these days and for the photographers and elves staffing the operations. Here's this weekend's Jennifer Kashenka.
Just how slow is mall traffic these days? So slow that Santa has to bring a book to read. Jennifer Levitz of the Wall Street Journal joins us now for more on this holiday story. Jennifer, why is the mall picture-taking Santa so lonely this year?
Well, we know that some malls have been struggling. Mall vacancies are at the highest they've been in about 7 years, and that is having an effect on mall traffic, and so Santa has more downtime than he used to.
Is it happening everywhere or just certain malls?
Certain malls. There are malls that are in areas where there's not a lot of competition, or they're in really good areas where there's tons of shoppers, maybe malls that have lively stores and trendy stores and restaurants are still hopping. And Santas in those places are reporting that they're very busy and booked up, and people are talking about hours-long waits. So it is not everywhere. It's more of the malls that, and everyone's been in them, the malls that are trying to figure out a path forward. They're losing anchors, and stores are coming in and out, and they're grappling with vacancies and how to reinvent themselves at a time when a lot of people are shopping online.
So Jennifer, how are these bored Santas filling their time?
Well, the Santas I talked with are really trying to stay Santa-like. That seemed to be a big theme. They're worried about looking board. So, for instance, there's a Santa conservatory that trains Santas, and they said that they teach them the resting smile face. So you're not sitting there slumped over and slack-jawed, but you're always sort of looking happy. And they're doing a lot of waving. They wave at anyone, and even if the mall seems really empty, they'll just wave at somebody down the way, and they'll even wave at other employees just to stay in the mood. They'll talk a lot with the other staff. There's a lot of chatting with the elves and the photographers. Some of them are able to walk around around the mall. And then I did talk with one Santa who said when it gets really, really slow, he will pull out a book. He's got a book. He was reading a Western. He had it in with the coloring books that he gives out to the kids. He'll take a quick break, but he said he's always looking out for a potential person that wants to come talk to him.
We're speaking with Jennifer Levitz of the Wall Street Journal. Your story, Jennifer, talks about the International Brotherhood of Real Bearded Santas. What the heck is that?
This is a big organization for professional Santas. They now go by the abbreviation because they want to be inclusive of Mrs. Claus. They meet, they have annual conventions, they have all kinds of gatherings of people who make a living doing this. I spoke with them about the future, the Santa business. They said that the Santa business is still doing really well, but it's changing. So instead of doing mall gigs, some of the Santas are getting into corporate parties, home parties. People are even doing video chats where the kids can chat with Santa by Skype. They're going to big single standalone stores that are still really busy with Santa. So you're seeing a shifting. They're trying to train those people, help them adapt to the changing mall landscape, and get into other fields. They refer to themselves as the Christmas community.
Jennifer, do they make more money if there are more people in line? Are they losing money by not seeing more picture-taking people?
The Santas I spoke with were being paid by the hour. I think they do have goals they try to hit. There's usually a company that is handling the Santa set and the photos, so they would make less money, and I suppose the Santas might be paid less. But I spoke with a Santa in Maine. He was making $20 an hour, and this was a seasonal job. He also works as a cashier, so he actually didn't mind the slow pace because he said that his other job he had to stand all day, and so this was nice, and it wasn't as physically taxing.
Wall Street Journal reporter Jennifer Levitz with this weekend's Jennifer Kashenka. 22 minutes now after the hour on This Weekend. Glad you're with us. What will happen when 5G technology reaches a point where it's ubiquitous? It's not too early for the conversation. While 5G will get to critical mass in developed countries in the coming months, it will likely be 2020 or later when it's so common you can depend on it being every place you need to be. This last step is a critical one for folks to reconsider where apps run and begin to rethink what apps do. But tech analyst Rob Enderle of the Enderle Group says some argue that it will change dramatically what we consider a mobile platform to be. Rob, start with the basics. Explain 5G.
Typically when we move between Gs, 2G, 3G, 4G, it was just bandwidth. You've got more data. 5G is different because it uses a very different technology, and what they focused on there was latency and performance at the edge, which means what makes this different is you can now plug into a wireless network and get performance very much like it would be if you were plugged into a wired network with incredibly low latency. I mean, gaming low latency. So if something is running on the cloud, if you've got an application running on the cloud, it would feel like it was running on your PC or smartphone. So you don't necessarily need to load an application on your PC or smartphone.
Wow. Explain the virtual reality telepresence and the mountain climber thing. That was fascinating.
Yeah, so you can basically see through the eyes of a mountain climber, real time. As the mountain climber is going up, you can get a sense of everything they're going through at the time they're going through it, and as I say, it's incredibly low latency. And so you'd actually get the sense of being there real time, and that could be any kind of a sports event or entertainer. If you wanted to see through their eyes and experience the event as they would experience it, it would be about as close as you could get, and you could do it real time.
Jeez. So would that mountain climber, for example, or entertainer be wearing goggles necessarily, or just some sort of glasses, or
camera? All they need is a 3D VR camera, which they could mount much like they do right now with the GoPro on the top of their head. So and you could look around. I mean, the thing is you're going up, regardless of where the mountain climber is facing, you get a 360 view of everything around them. So as they're climbing, you could see stuff that they aren't seeing. So your experience not only would be far safer because you're not climbing, it could actually be far richer because you're able to really kind of explore the space while the mountain climber is pretty much focused on